Things are constantly changing. From hailing a cab into a stranger's car, from dial-up internet to seeing your loved ones now in 3D, from reading books to asking AI to learn about history, from data centers to the world of cloud. Transformation, it is leaving behind of old ways, old places, stepping into new spaces that inspire inspiration. Because transformation defines us. It shapes our journey, our identity, it's powerful, and it's who we are. We are the products of our transformation. Transformation and innovation are probably the two most important things for why people move into cloud, adopting technology. And we hear a lot about that from a cloud perspective, but not enough from a cybersecurity perspective. This video was inspired by a Bridgestone video that I saw on Taren Micro's YouTube channel, where the CIO of Bridgestone spoke about how cybersecurity is helping Bridgestone transform.
Technology is helping us design the tires, transformation into mobility solutions.
I know, into mobility. That's what Bridgestone is working towards. So it's not just about tires, it's about how do you make all these innovation and transformation happen, even in an industry which you would traditionally link with, I have a large fleet of trucks or whatever, and I just need to provide tires to them. So good job on Bridgestone for doing that. But I wanted to share in this video how cybersecurity is enabling transformation, especially in a cloud and a cloud native world that we live in today. I have 3 reasons for this, because I also wanted to show you that cybersecurity done right can enable businesses, not just like Bridgestone, to transform and rebrand themselves, but also you might do the same as well by watching this video and maybe transform something new in your world. So let's get into the video with my 3 reasons for how security is enabling transformation of businesses. The first one being speed of business. Businesses these days have to compete with the fact that they are in hard competition with everyone around them who's digitizing everything. Now, it's no longer about having the best plan. It's all about how quickly can we release a product to the general public, because if you don't, the competitors would.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Whatever you put out on the internet, you just want to make sure that the risk is acceptable and you're driving the right kind of innovation through the technology that you're releasing out in the public. But you also need to enable what's internal to your organization. Nowadays, it's not just about in person. Now we have workforce that is remote, workforce that is hybrid. Now we're no longer trying to deploy in years or months. We're trying to deploy applications within a matter of a few weeks, few days, and sometimes even a few minutes, because that's how competition is becoming these days. It's all about how quickly get you something in the market, which means that you're adopting a lot of technology to transform from the traditional, say, yearly deployments to the weekly or daily deployments that a lot of people are going down the path of, thanks to DevOps and the cloud world that has been introduced with thanks to automation. Now, things like these also mean that as a security organization, because of the speed of releases, you need to be able to keeping up with the releases and the security threats that are being introduced by the releases before they get released out in the wild. So your security products or the things that you work on from a security perspective should be equally fast, which means you're using cloud native technology for your advantage. Like for example, you may use cloud technologies that are like your AWS, Azure, Google Cloud for their cloud infrastructure services, but you can also use things like their managed services, but you can also use their security services. Another example for this is the AWS Cloud Trail service, which is the auditing service, which is a great indicator for you to know what is an action that is performed by any user in any AWS account. Now, this capability also does exist in Azure, Google Cloud, and other services from an auditing capability. But imagine if you are ushering in a new world where you need real-time action, you want to be more ingrained with having a real-time information from any of the services, not just the cloud provider, what kind of services you are integrating with. All of them need to be able to at least share near real-time information of whether there's a malicious attack happening right now. Traditionally, this would have taken security team days and months to collect logs from different sources into a log aggregator and create some custom queries to enable themselves to identify how quickly can they identify the context behind. Using services like CloudTrail and other similar services that are available from Azure, Google Cloud, and other cloud service providers, whether it's public or private cloud, you're also able to perform real-time reactions.
Wow.
Yes, real-time reactions based on an event that has just happened. Because imagine this, what used to happen traditionally, there would be an alert that would be raised and they would realize, oh, actually, there is something wrong here. I need to go and investigate this, and go. You identify that, oh, okay, something's happened in the cloud, but I'm just going to zero in on this, but I would not be able to identify if there is a broader impact of this threat that has been identified. Instead, now what you can do is you can use the information from your cloud provider as a enriching information to provide context to some of the other things as well. Like for example, you may have something on the endpoint, you may have something on your IDS, IPS, or you may have something on your antivirus. you may have something from your vulnerability management. And if you see them all triggering together, maybe hopefully on a single pane of glass somewhere, if you have one of those solutions that you can use to at least identify everything in one place, you would be able to at least quickly react almost near real time using capabilities that are available in your cloud application. Like for example, you can use serverless functions from your cloud service provider to be able to react automatically if you are aware of any known security events that should be shut down. Like for example, if a resource is made public and if you have a general policy in the organization that, hey, anything that goes public on the internet, make that private immediately or delete that entire thing. Now, whatever your stand needs to be, you pick a path and you make that action automatic and it just happens. Like Azure Sentinel does that as policies as well. Same with GCP and same with AWS. So they're all helping you improve your security to the point that not just the speed of the business improving, but also your speed of responding to emerging threats is also responding. Now, talking about emerging threats, new landscape and new threats keep coming up every single day. From bored teenagers on the internet who are trying to DDoS smaller applications to teenagers who are using generative AI to learn and become a lot more smarter hackers and script kiddies out there. From manually implementing security controls to be able to automatically make a blueprint for the entire cloud environment that is used in the entirety and blocks any unexpected threat that you probably are not aware of as a scenario. That's the kind of security can exist in a world with the emerging threats that keep coming up in the world of cloud with the new services that they keep releasing. So your guardrails are all API enabled, which means whenever something happens, say for example, you identify that your virtual server has been impacted by a malicious malware. And the moment you identify to the moment you contain that information, back in the day, it would take you months, sometimes days, sometimes weeks, depending on how complex the environment is. In a cloud environment, you can contain that particular virtual server in a matter of minutes, thanks to the capability provided by the cloud service provider and the security products that are working with the native capability of cloud service providers for you to do containment, recon, and forensic analysis of anything that has been affected maliciously. So responding to existing and emerging threats is also transforming thanks to security by means of using automation and the cloud native capabilities of your cloud provider. So you are able to develop things which is safe for your developers to use and is continuing to keep them safe within the guardrails, which are API enabled. For something wrong that happens, they get stopped immediately. Now, talking about developers, the third reason is to increase the productivity of developers so that the speed of the business could be maintained with security in mind. Now, this is moving away from your traditional IP address and firewall approach or your antivirus alerts or IPS IDS alerts, which used to be really beautiful and really valuable in an on-premise world while they still had their glory days back then. But in the cloud world, this needs to be slightly tweaked for them to do a better job. Now, in terms of tweaking, some may look at this as a massive leap, some may look at it as a very small leap, but the importance over here is that you are able to do integration of security into existing tool set used by your developers in the cloud, because these days, believe it or not, most of the infrastructure being created by users are technically developers who are creating infrastructure for their applications in cloud. For you to be able to look at the infrastructure as code and have integration from your security products that you're using to be able to stop anything which is malicious at the beginning, as shift left, as people may say, or shift smart. Another word that you may find which helps you understand that you're trying to solve and mitigate the security risk before it makes into production. So bottom line is, if you are an organization which is regulated, thanks to the executive order that was released by President Joe Biden, you probably have to start building a recipe list of what ingredients make up your software, and the security part would be whether the ingredients used in the software are expired, harmful for the organization, probably should have never considered in the first place, and a lot more. So doing speed of business would also go hand in hand by responding to threats fairly quickly, but also working with developers who are the ones who are creating the environment in the first place, very closely with them to maintain the productivity so you can continue to help the business scale.
As long as I got my suit and tie.
I've got a bonus one for you as well. I know we spoke about three things. But the fourth and most important thing as you go through a transformation journey is to understand the business risk landscape. Now, as security teams, we are required to understand the risk posture of an organization, not just from a perspective of what are the upcoming threats, but also from a perspective of change of environment. As I mentioned, remote workers. It also means that you have to understand from a perspective that if I move into the cloud, I have all these other devices I have AI, and what does that do to my risk posture? Am I a lot more secure, or do I have a lot more unknowns that I have to work with? So in this context, security can help transform the organization by having a good visibility into the broader context of the entire environment in terms of endpoints, what's covered, if you have IDS, IPS, or if you have other agents enabled in your environment to give you a realistic perspective, even a real-time perspective, because I don't know if you know this, but most cloud providers have a delayed response of logging.
Wait, what?
So for example, AWS CloudTrail, for people who are from the AWS world, CloudTrail takes about 15 minutes to let you know that, yes, I know I spoke about CloudTrail before, but there is a 15-minute delay in it producing the log and sharing it. So there could be someone in your environment in and out in 15 minutes, and you probably would not find out about it until like half an hour later, because 15 plus 15 equals 30.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
Are probably not the best way sometimes. So you may have to think about real-time options as well that you would need to understand from your environment to inform the board, the leaders, and everyone else in the organization make the right call based on the risk information you provide them. So the right projects get the right priority, and the right people get the right information to make the right call, so the business can continue to go with speed and productivity. Now, in saying all this, we navigate through an evolving digital landscape. The need for a robust cybersecurity has been paramount to help transform businesses as they go through digital transformation. Now, the shift in business model from a traditional in-person to a hybrid to a remote world has already happened, and news articles out there are filled with it. It's also happening in technology, where it's no longer the world where you see a list of monolith applications. You're seeing a lot more micro. Now you're seeing a lot more microservices that are API enabled. Cloud is API enabled. Security also needs to be API enabled, which is why a lot of transformation and innovation requires you to have security that is working with this native context of the cloud, is API enabled, is automated, is able to have the company continue with the speed of release of products to the business at speed, which has never happened before. So you continue to transform. The net positive of walking the path with the right cybersecurity partner is what would help more Bridgestones of the world deliver more faster securely. By the way, I just want to say thank you to Trend Micro for letting me use the video. If you want to know more about how Trend Micro can help you with innovation and transformation, check out the link at the bottom to find out more. So what will be your next transformation? That's pretty much what I had for this video. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give us a like and subscribe so I know the kind of video you like. But if you are visiting our channel for the first time, definitely look around. We talk about cloud security, the AI security, and the impact of it in cloud every day of the week, technically, on LinkedIn, YouTube, and if you are following us on the podcast channels as well. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and got some value from this transformation video, and continue to transform the organization that you work for. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.